The convergence of ancient wisdom and modern consciousness exploration has sparked one of the most fascinating debates in contemporary spirituality. What happens when the 2,000-year-old path of Buddhist enlightenment meets the mind-expanding realm of psychedelic substances? This question sits at the heart of one of the most provocative spiritual discussions of our time, challenging everything we thought we knew about meditation, awakening, and the nature of consciousness itself. Today we're diving deep into a groundbreaking collection that dares to explore this controversial intersection. We're talking about a book that brought together some of the most respected voices in both Buddhist practice and psychedelic research, creating conversations that many consider taboo. This isn't just another spiritual self-help book gathering dust on monastery shelves. This is a bold examination of whether chemicals can accelerate spiritual growth, whether ancient practices can integrate modern discoveries, and whether the path to enlightenment might be more diverse than traditional teachings suggest. Zig Zag Zen represents a fearless venture into uncharted spiritual territory, assembled by Allan Badiner and Alex Gray as a comprehensive anthology examining the relationship between Buddhist practice and psychedelic experience. This collection emerged from a growing recognition that two seemingly separate paths toward expanded consciousness were converging in unexpected ways, creating both opportunities and challenges for serious spiritual practitioners. The book functions as a multifaceted exploration rather than a single-authored treatise, bringing together diverse perspectives from established Buddhist teachers, pioneering researchers, and thoughtful practitioners who have navigated both territories. Rather than advocating for any particular position, the collection presents a spectrum of viewpoints, from those who see psychedelics as potential spiritual tools to others who view them as distractions from authentic practice. What sets this anthology apart is its willingness to address uncomfortable questions that many spiritual communities prefer to avoid. The contributors don't simply celebrate the intersection of Buddhism and psychedelics, nor do they dismiss it outright. Instead, they engage in nuanced discussions about consciousness, the nature of spiritual experience, and the various methods humans have developed to explore the depths of their minds. What makes this exploration particularly compelling is how it emerged during a renaissance of psychedelic research, when scientists were rediscovering what indigenous cultures had known for millennia. The timing couldn't have been more perfect, as Western Buddhism was maturing and psychedelic therapy was gaining scientific credibility. The result is a collection that refuses to shy away from difficult questions, bringing together meditation masters, neuroscientists, philosophers, and experienced practitioners to wrestle with one of spirituality's most complex puzzles. The book's structure reflects this balanced approach, weaving together personal narratives, scholarly analysis, and practical wisdom. Contributors include figures like Ram Dass, who bridged Eastern spirituality and Western psychology, alongside Buddhist teachers who have grappled with questions about chemical enhancement of spiritual practice. The result is a tapestry of insights that challenges readers to think more deeply about the nature of awakening itself. This collection arrived at a crucial moment when both Buddhism and psychedelic research were experiencing renewed interest in Western culture, making it a timely contribution to ongoing discussions about consciousness, spirituality, and human potential. The anthology opens by acknowledging the elephant in the meditation hall. Countless practitioners have discovered Buddhism through psychedelic experiences, yet traditional Buddhist institutions often remain silent about this connection. This tension creates the central dynamic that drives the entire collection, as contributors attempt to bridge two worlds that share common ground in their exploration of consciousness, yet often maintain separate communities and practices. The book's approach is deliberately comprehensive, examining historical connections between mind-altering substances and spiritual practice while addressing contemporary questions about integration and authenticity. Contributors explore how psychedelic experiences might relate to traditional Buddhist concepts like emptiness, interdependence, and the nature of self, while also investigating potential conflicts between chemical-induced states and the gradual cultivation emphasized in Buddhist training. Personal accounts form a significant portion of the collection, offering readers intimate glimpses into how individuals have navigated the intersection of these two paths. These stories reveal both the potential insights and the pitfalls that can arise when attempting to integrate psychedelic experiences with Buddhist practice, providing practical wisdom for those facing similar challenges. The scholarly elements of the book delve into philosophical questions about the nature of spiritual experience itself. Contributors examine whether chemically induced states can produce genuine spiritual insight, how such experiences might relate to traditional meditation attainments, and what role intention and preparation play in determining the spiritual value of any consciousness altering experience. Throughout the collection, there's a recognition that this intersection raises fundamental questions about spiritual authority, the nature of enlightenment, and the diversity of paths that might lead to awakening. The book doesn't provide easy answers, but instead offers a framework for thoughtful exploration of these complex issues. The historical foundation of the book establishes that the relationship between Buddhism and consciousness-altering substances isn't entirely new. Despite modern assumptions, contributors trace connections through various Buddhist cultures, examining how different traditions have approached the question of chemical enhancement of spiritual practice. This historical perspective reveals that the current debate reflects ongoing tensions rather than entirely contemporary concerns. One of the most significant themes explored is the concept of spiritual bypassing through psychedelics. Several contributors examine how individuals might use powerful substances to avoid the gradual work of spiritual development, seeking dramatic experiences rather than the subtle transformation that traditional Buddhist practice emphasizes. This discussion reveals the potential dangers of treating psychedelics as spiritual shortcuts, while acknowledging their capacity to provide genuine insights. The book extensively explores the relationship between psychedelic experiences and traditional Buddhist concepts of awakening. Contributors investigate whether substance-induced states can produce genuine realization or merely temporary glimpses that might inspire further practice. This examination includes detailed analysis of how psychedelic experiences relate to concepts like emptiness, the dissolution of self, and the recognition of interdependence that form the foundation of Buddhist understanding. Integration emerges as a crucial theme throughout the collection, with multiple contributors addressing how individuals might incorporate insights from psychedelic experiences into ongoing Buddhist practice. This discussion reveals both the potential benefits and the challenges of attempting to bridge these two approaches, offering practical guidance for those seeking to combine both paths effectively. The role of community and guidance receives significant attention as contributors examine how traditional Buddhist sanghas might respond to members who have used psychedelics in their spiritual exploration. This discussion reveals tensions between individual spiritual autonomy and communal spiritual authority, highlighting the need for more nuanced approaches to diverse spiritual experiences within Buddhist communities. Several contributors explore the neuroscientific understanding of both meditation and psychedelic states, examining how modern research might illuminate the relationship between these two approaches to consciousness exploration. This scientific perspective provides valuable context for understanding both the similarities and differences between meditation-induced and chemically-induced altered states. The question of spiritual authenticity runs throughout the collection, with contributors wrestling with whether psychedelic experiences can produce genuine spiritual development or merely simulate the effects of traditional practice. This examination includes consideration of how different types of spiritual experiences might contribute to overall development, challenging simplistic distinctions between natural and artificial spiritual states. The book also addresses practical considerations for those interested in exploring both paths, including discussions of preparation, integration, and the importance of maintaining regular spiritual practice, regardless of occasional psychedelic experiences. These practical elements provide valuable guidance for readers seeking to navigate these complex waters safely and effectively. The primary insight emerging from this collection is that psychedelic experiences and Buddhist practice operate on fundamentally different timescales, with psychedelics offering intense but temporary glimpses of expanded consciousness, while Buddhist practice emphasizes gradual cultivation of stable awareness. This understanding helps practitioners avoid the trap of expecting psychedelics to replace consistent spiritual practice, while recognizing their potential value as catalysts for deeper exploration. Another crucial takeaway is the recognition that integration is more important than the experience itself. Contributors repeatedly emphasize that the value of any consciousness-altering experience depends on how effectively it is incorporated into ongoing spiritual development. This insight applies equally to profound meditation experiences and psychedelic journeys, highlighting the universal importance of skillful integration in spiritual growth. The book reveals that spiritual bypassing represents a significant danger in both Buddhist practice and psychedelic exploration. Contributors warn against using either approach to avoid psychological or emotional work, emphasizing that genuine spiritual development requires facing difficult aspects of experience rather than seeking escape through altered states. This understanding helps practitioners maintain balanced perspectives on both paths. Set and setting emerge as crucial factors that determine the spiritual value of any experience, whether in meditation, retreat, or psychedelic journey. Contributors emphasize that preparation, intention, and environment significantly influence the quality and integration of consciousness, altering experiences, providing practical guidance for optimizing both meditation practice and psychedelic exploration. The collection demonstrates that community support and guidance are essential for navigating the intersection of Buddhism and psychedelics safely. Contributors highlight how isolation from spiritual community can lead to spiritual inflation or confusion, while emphasizing the importance of finding teachers and sanghas that can provide appropriate guidance for diverse spiritual experiences. Another key insight is that both approaches can complement each other when approached skillfully, with psychedelics potentially deepening appreciation for Buddhist concepts, while Buddhist practice provides frameworks for understanding and integrating psychedelic experiences. This complementary relationship requires careful attention to timing, preparation, and integration to be beneficial rather than conflicting. The book emphasizes that spiritual development ultimately depends on character cultivation rather than the intensity of consciousness-altering experiences. Contributors consistently point toward the importance of developing qualities like compassion, wisdom, and ethical conduct, regardless of the specific practices or experiences that inspire this development. The collection also reveals that both Buddhist practice and psychedelic exploration can produce similar insights about the nature of consciousness, the interconnectedness of all phenomena, and the constructed nature of ordinary reality. This convergence suggests that different paths might lead to similar understandings, while emphasizing that the depth and stability of these insights depends on sustained practice and integration. Finally, the book demonstrates that approaching this intersection requires humility and discernment, recognizing that both Buddhist practice and psychedelic exploration carry risks and benefits that must be carefully considered. This balanced perspective helps practitioners avoid both excessive enthusiasm and unnecessary fear, while maintaining appropriate respect for the power of consciousness-altering experiences. The conversations presented in this remarkable anthology ultimately point toward a more nuanced understanding of consciousness exploration than either pure traditionalism or uncritical enthusiasm for psychedelics might suggest. The collection succeeds in creating space for thoughtful discussion of complex spiritual questions, while avoiding both dogmatic rejection and naive acceptance of chemical enhancement of spiritual practice. What emerges most clearly from these diverse perspectives is that the intersection of Buddhism and psychedelics reflects broader questions about the nature of spiritual development, the diversity of human experience, and the relationship between ancient wisdom and modern discoveries. Rather than providing definitive answers, the book offers frameworks for ongoing exploration of these fundamental questions. The anthology's lasting contribution lies in its demonstration that meaningful spiritual dialogue can occur across different approaches to consciousness exploration. By bringing together voices from both Buddhist practice and psychedelic research, the collection models the kind of open-minded investigation that spiritual growth requires, while maintaining appropriate caution about the challenges and responsibilities that come with consciousness-altering experiences. Perhaps most importantly, the book emphasizes that regardless of the specific practices or experiences that inspire spiritual development, the ultimate goal remains the cultivation of wisdom, compassion, and liberation from suffering. This reminder helps readers maintain perspective on the means while keeping sight of the ends that give spiritual practice its meaning and value. The collection ultimately serves as an invitation to approach spiritual development with both curiosity and discernment, recognizing that the path to awakening might be more diverse than traditional teachings suggest, while maintaining commitment to the fundamental values that make spiritual practice worthwhile.